All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to DuePoint. My name's Rob van der Bijl. I'm one of the executives here at DuePoint. I'm going to be spending the next 45 minutes during this lunchtime presentation going through a bit of background on DuePoint, who we are and what the business presentation is all about. Welcome to everyone who's tuned in on our live stream around the country. All right, so let's begin. DuePoint, as you can see, it says that we're a division of another company, Constantia Insurance Company Limited. Constantia's been around for a very long time. They were founded in 1952, so they've been around for nearly 7 decades. That's their building in the background, their little orange logo. Traditionally, they've only dealt with other FSPs, but for the first time through this division, DuePoint, are we dealing with the public, with the consumers, you and I, for the first time. The FSP number that we operate under, very important, is that one that you see over there. You'll notice in our foyer above the water cooler, we've got all these certificates up on the wall. Those are FSB licenses, our Financial Services Board licenses. So we've got a long and short-term insurance license, we've got an investment license, we've got our FSP license, and we've also put up our accreditation with the Direct Marketing and the Direct Selling Associations. So go take a look at that. It's very important to us. Credibility is very important to us, and obviously if you guys are going to be considering this opportunity, it's very important that you trust the business that we're going to be speaking about. So do everything that you need to do to build up that trust. You can go do a background check on us. We're actually listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange under another business called Conduit Capital. The managers and the executives here at DuePoint are these characters up on the screen, arranged from shortest to tallest, least good looking to best good looking. Starting with the 3 least good looking who happen to be registered chartered accountants in South Africa. So starting with Brendan, you might have seen him in the foyer just before he left. He's our senior executive here. He heads up this division. He's got a lot of experience in financial services, particularly in insurance, because his family have been involved in insurance all his life. His father's a professor of insurance who taught at Wits for 25 years. His father actually founded Clientele Life in the IFA all those decades ago. And as a family, they've been entrenched in insurance. Him and his brother Stuart got insurance policies as birthday presents growing up. So we have to have a bit of sympathy towards them. But very lucky to have all the experience that Brendan has in this business. Tim Reynolds is our banking man, very experienced in corporate banking. He was with the First Rand Group for about 15 years, very senior position there where he reported directly to the CEO and the board of directors. And then Stacey, a lot of experience in auditing. She was with Deloitte all her working career locally as well as overseas. And together, Tim and Stacey look after the auditing, the accounting, the financial and the regulatory aspects of our business. All the fun stuff in the company, you see. And then the 2 non-accountants, so starting with Jane. You saw Jane in reception. She's got, about 25 years of experience in direct marketing and direct selling. She's actually from the UK, so she brings that international experience with her to our business. Even though we're an insurance company, our growth is very much determined by our success in the network or the referral marketing space. And Jane brings all that experience with her. And then myself, I've been working in marketing and advertising all my career. I ran my own digital agency for about 15 years. It's still running today. I might touch on why I left that business, but that's a little bit of background on the business, on the people involved here. Our mandate as staff of DuePoint is to support everyone that joins us in this partnership. It is in our interest to see you effective and profitable and successful in this, and so we do everything to support you with this endeavor. All right, so why are we here? Lunchtime, Friday. Probably the least popular presentation because you'd probably rather be out having a steak across the road at a restaurant, but we find ourselves at a business presentation. So we like to kind of understand what the driving factors are, and you're ready, you can see that 4-letter word up on the screen staring back at you because you've got a love-hate relationship with that 4-letter word, I know. But the driving factors are negative, unfortunately. We look at the economy, which is in a dismal state. We had a lovely presentation last night where we invited a special guest, Professor Dr. Leon Lowe, to come speak to us, and he often speaks to a lot of media and advises a lot of companies around the economy and all kinds of things, regulatory aspects, and he was just telling us about the state that our economy is in, and it is absolutely shocking. It's shocking, and there's absolutely no thread of hope that you can place on the economy currently, and I think that's why we're in a business presentation today, because I think you've realized that you have to start doing something for yourself to give yourself any hope in South Africa at the moment. One of the other driving factors is certainly debt, and unfortunately what we try to do in a circumstance that we find ourselves in with regards to the economy is this growing divide of what our salaries are and what the cost of living is. So I often ask the audience when I give presentations, and you'll see Saturdays the room will be full, we'll have 140, 150 people in here, and I'll ask the entire audience, I'll say, well, how many people in the audience have received a raise in their salaries in line with inflation? So about between 5 and 7% for the last 7 years. And no one puts their hand up, ever. No, never ever does anyone put their hand up to that question. And it kind of paints a picture to what personal finance looks like, because we have this growing divide between what salary is, what the cost of living is, and often we make the mistake of trying to band-aid over that with debt. And economists will criticize South Africans constantly about our engagement with debt instruments instead of savings and investment products. But when you're unable to keep up with your financial commitments at the end of the month, we're not faced with much choice, are we? So debt actually becomes this factor that actually has an exacerbating effect with regards to our personal finance, and it really comes to a head later on in life. If you're in your 20s and 30s, you probably don't realize it. I certainly didn't myself. Now that I'm 40, I'm very much aware of the effect of what debt has in my life, because now I'm halfway through kind of my working career. I've been working for 20 years. I've got 20 years left before Brendan tells me to move along. I'll be 60, frightening prospect. And at 60, I can expect to become retired. And the question that we all have to ask ourselves when we get to retirement is, well, what have I done in the last 40 to 45 years to secure a dignified retirement? And the statistics, unfortunately, that we get from the FSB show that 98%, I mean, it's a massive number. I want to say majority, but majority doesn't do it justice. 98% of South Africans get to retirement not having done enough. They are deemed to be financially dependent. And we see people getting to retirement either forced to carry on working, and you're going to go out and fight for a job against the other 10 million people that are looking for jobs in South Africa, or you have to downscale your lifestyle to such a degree that you can actually afford to get by with whatever you've done. Right? So to give you an idea of what you need to do, if you're the age of 20, 25, you've got time on your side, you can engage in typical retirement planning. And if you're in the position to save 800 Rand a month for 40 years, right, and that needs to increase, that contribution needs to increase with inflation every year. But if you can put away 800 Rand a month for 40 years, you'll be in a position where you've saved R1 million in your retirement fund, right? So that's what a financial advisor will tell you if you go speak to him. If you have R1 million that's been saved up, the typical interest that you'll earn will be around 5,000 Rand, right? And that will last you about 30 years. So you can start eating into that capital amount for 30 years, but I often ask the question, who can survive on 5,000 Rand a month? And then I'll ask the question, well, who's saving towards R1 million in their retirement fund? And you see this massive gap, right? This issue that starts to form. So those are the driving factors. As a business, we saw an opportunity to create a system that the average South African can engage in to change their circumstance. We've got three kind of aspirations, for the people. So we've got three aspirations in the DuePoint system for people that join our business. The first aspiration is to see people become debt-free. Number one aspiration for us, that we have for you. So you can align yourself with our ambitions, or you don't have to, but we want to see, the point of this business is to get you out of debt as quickly as possible, because that empowers you towards our second aspiration, is that for you to start building wealth, right, towards your retirement, to start building value in assets that you can depend on, that increase in value. And then the third aspiration is just to see everybody happier, because you're not having steak across the road, you're here with a hope in your heart that you can change your circumstance for yourself, for your family, and perhaps even for generations to come. So those are our three aspirations. How does this work? Our guests here today, you have the opportunity to join DuePoint. What happens is you contract with us, and when you contract with us, we call you wealth engineers. And as wealth engineers, we expect you to do only one thing, and that's to go out and build what we call channels of distribution. And through these channels of distribution, which is really you just introducing people to DuePoint, we'll attempt to place product with those people that you introduce to us through our online platform. And that's as simply as this business works. The benefit for you is you get to create additional income. This is obvious. This is why you're here. You got told, do you want to make more money? You said yes. You came to a business presentation. Or maybe the person just offered you free tea and coffee and you came anyway. But the nature of the income that we produce here is one of recurring nature. This can be, some people refer to this as passive income. My father coined the phrase, make money while you're sleeping, which I like, right? Because that's quite cool to think that you can make money while you're sleeping. But this is actually a benefit that's actually inherent to insurance companies. Insurance companies create recurring income. The business I ran for 15 years, we didn't create any recurring income. We were a service-based business of designers and developers and account managers, salespeople, admin staff, and we'd have to go out every month and look for the business, do the business, so production, and then invoice for the business. And at the end of the month, I'd have to start again. We'd start at zero. And I knew we would have to make this much money every single month, starting at zero, and hopefully at the end of the month have made enough to pay everybody and a little bit of profit. And that's why I left the business, because I realized I'd be doing that for the rest of my life. There was no case where I could go, I'm going to go on holiday, and the business would make money while I was on holiday. Right? The business was certainly not making money while I was sleeping. It was only making money when we were all sitting in front of the computers. This business frees you from that time constraint, right? Passive income. You get to harness the power of duplication. This is leverage, again, with the object of trying to free you of the time constraint. Because when you start building these things called channels of distribution, I'll show you what one of them look like, you actually are bringing other people into your business that will collaborate with you. So when you go out and you do that, I'm hoping that you're finding resourceful, effective peers that you can depend on. Because if they work together with you and they collaborate effectively with you, they will increase your recurring income every month, right? And your sole efforts aren't dependent completely on you. You're working with people that increase your effort tenfold. It's a flexi-time business. So you have the luxury of deciding when you want to do this business. Don't make the mistake of thinking you can become successful in this business by doing it when you feel like it. Those are called New Year's resolutions, and we know what happened to New Year's resolutions. Right? You have to treat this like a proper, bona fide business opportunity. It is no different to starting any other business, right? It kind of leads me on to my next point. There's no startup capital, so I think people would take this business a lot more seriously if I said, put R1 million of your own money into this business, right? Then you'll give it the attention it deserves. But there's no startup capital, there's no registration fees. We make this business as risk-free as possible. There's no qualifications or experience required. The person that invited you here, did they tell you you needed to bring your CV with you, right? I don't review CVs in the business. Also, the other flip side is that we actually contract you out of the obligation that we have towards the FSB. So we take care of that regulatory obligation. You don't have to worry about that. So the business really becomes accessible to everybody. You get to build an asset. Now, this is probably one of the most important benefits on the slide because it actually is the antithesis to employment. Because what happens, I suspect the majority of us here are employed. We are running around for 40, 45 years working for somebody else, increasing someone else's asset in a value that they own, where we don't really get to partake in the upside of that asset. So the company you're working for, when that company starts doing really well, do you all get increases? Do you get a dividend check? Do you get increased shareholding? Do your shares increase in value in the business? No, no, and no, no, right? Unless you're like senior management or one of the executives there. But the rest of us, we don't get to partake in that upside. But you are forced to partake in the downside. Because if the business struggles, they tell you at the end of the financial year, sorry, we can't give you increases. If the business struggles, your job's under risk of you being retrenched, right? In this business, the time that you're going to be sacrificing into building these channels of distribution, know that you have ownership over this channel of distribution that you're building. You're building an asset that you have ownership over. It means you can move it into a family trust. You can give it to your kids. You can seed it to your beneficiaries if something happens to you. The business will carry on going once you retire. The business will carry on running once you pass away, right? So you should be happy to be sacrificing time into this asset that you have ownership over. There's no selling in our business. So again, we contract you out of selling. You don't speak about our products. You don't advertise our products. You don't market our products. You don't talk about our products. You don't have to try to sell our products. All you're going to be doing is telling people about a business opportunity that exists, right? The nature of our products, though, are financial in nature. This is a great benefit because they're not tangible products. We don't have the same issues related to tangible products like stock and distribution. You didn't have to bring a bucky today. Did you see any boxes of vitamins in the foyer for you to buy? Right? We don't have those issues. There's no expiry dates on our products. They don't take up space at home. Brendan was joking last night. He said, you don't have to convert your garage into a refrigerated garage to keep all your goods that you have to sell on the weekend fresh. Right? So we make the business convenient as possible. But your success is really determined. It's predicated on you being able to build these channels of distribution. So a channel of distribution begins with you. You become a wealth engineer, and you're going to go out and you're going to introduce people to the business opportunity. If you're successful in that, and you get people to come sit down in this presentation or watch it on YouTube or on a USB stick that you might have, and they join DuePoint and take out one of our products, that is the beginning of your channel of distribution, right? And those people will go out and do exactly the same thing. That's why I say, I hope you find resourceful, effective people, your peers, because you want them to build the business the way you're building the business. You want them to collaborate with you. You want to be able to connect with them. And certainly you'll be working with these individuals for the rest of your life if you make this business successful. So you want to be able to enjoy their company, I would suspect. And after a certain amount of time, you have this organic growth that takes place in your business, right? You're getting paid for every single dot that you see on the screen. This is where recurring income comes into place. You only introduced 5 people to the business. This could be the result after a certain amount of time of what your business looks like, right? And so you see the leverage and the power duplication coming into this. So this is what a channel of distribution looks like. I will warn everyone, I always warn everyone in every presentation, that we are not a get-rich-quick scheme. Some people think on arrival that they've been invited to one of these presentations. We are not one of those presentations. We are a 70-year-old insurance company. It's regulated by the FSB. We are listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange. We would never even align ourselves to anything like that. And at the same time, from a business point of view, I will never tell you that this business is easy. You'll never hear those words come out of my or Brendan's mouths, ever. Ever. If you have ever had the joy of trying to start your own business, you will realize how difficult it is to make it successful. The odds of a business living past 12 months is 5%. 5% of businesses make it past the 12-month mark, right? So in this business, we'll always tell you that it is fraught with frustration. We deal with people constantly. You know, people can be very frustrating to deal with. But if you're willing to partake in the downside of entrepreneurship, you get to enjoy the upside of entrepreneurship. And that is about financial freedom, creating your own income, taking charge over your own income, and changing your future. Okay. All right, so how do you earn money at DuePoint? So there's actually 2 ways to benefit as a wealth engineer. The first way is through our returns program, which we'll discuss now, and the second way is through our rewards program. So the returns program works like this. We pay our wealth engineers a base return fee of R27.50 for every product that you have in your channel. Right? So remember the first 5 people that you introduced to the business. These people in relation to you are 1 point away from you. Right? These are people that you introduced personally. And on point 1, you'll see on the table, on point 1, we pay you double the R27.50. So we pay you in effect R55 for every product on point 1, every month going forward. Remember, it's recurring income. It's not once-off income. We keep paying you that R55 every month going forward. And then these people are going to go out and look for your other people, and when they're successful in that, you've got product that now lands on your second point, right? And on your second point again, we pay you R55. And as the product gets further and further away from you, as your channel starts to grow, you see the multiplier begins to drop all the way to the 8th point where it's 4%, R1.10 for every product. But what's important to note is that we don't limit you at point 8. Right? We've got wealth engineers who've been here for 18 months. They've already built their channels 20, almost 30 points in width, right, in diameter. We keep paying you from point 8 onwards to infinity in theory. We don't limit you on how big your channel can get at DuePoint. We don't limit you on how much money you can earn at DuePoint. The accountability always lies with you. So this is the mechanics of the returns. The next question you get is, well, how much money can I earn? Give me a sense of what people earn in this business. So what we did was, right at the outset when we launched this business last year in February, we built this projection. We call it the path to success, very appropriate. Someone in marketing must have come up with that. And what it does is it projects your income, right, your return that you can get at DuePoint. But it is reliant, it's dependent on a growth formula that we propose to you. So the growth formula that we propose to you is something we call 3+2. We propose to you in your first month, bring 3 people into the business, right? That gets you qualified in this business. 3 people. And then every consecutive month thereafter, you only have to bring in another 2, right? So we're in November. You bring 3 people into the business in November. In December, you find another 2, one on Christmas and one at the New Year's party, right? How to ruin the moment when you pull out your business presentation at a Christmas dinner. January, you bring in another 2 people. February, you bring in another 2 people. And so you bring in 2 people every consecutive month. That's why we call it 3 plus 2. So in effect, it's actually 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 into perpetuity. And if you can do that after 6 months, you'll be earning about 2,500 rand. Not that much, right? That's what I thought. When I first saw the example, I thought 2,500 rand after 6 months of work, that's not going to get anyone to sign up to this business, right? But I was thinking the wrong way. I think like a consumer, spender. Because if you say 2,500 rand, I think, I can maybe buy some Nikes, or I can do this, I can do that. What can I do with 2,500 rand as a consumer? It's the wrong way to think. Remember, our first aspiration was for you to get rid of your debt as quickly as possible. And I imagine everyone's got debt in this room, right? So here we have an example of someone with R1 million debt. They've got R1 million bond with the bank. They're going to be paying back the bank over the bond term, which is typically 20 years. Most people go for 20 years. You know, you can get a smaller bond, a reduced bond, but you've got to pay more. But we don't want to do that. We want to get the biggest house we can afford. So we go with the maximum bond, 20 years, right? So I'm 40, I get a bond for R1 million, nice little 60-meter square apartment here in Bryanston. The bank loans me R1 million, and I agree to pay the bank from the age of 40 till the age of 60 about 11,500 rand a month at the current interest rate. I joined DuePoint. 6 months later with some success, I'm earning 2,500 rand, and I do the mature yet boring thing, very boring thing, of putting the 2,500 rand as an additional payment into my bond. What is the net effect of that? Why would anyone want to do that? Because it reduces the term of my debt from 20 years to 11 and a half years. I've nearly halved the term of debt. I've become a homeowner at 51 instead of 60. It saves me in repayments to the bank R1 million on a R1 million house. Does that give you any idea of how much interest you're paying back the bank? Right? Little 2,500 rand will save me R1 million like that. It affords me the luxury of now being able to put that 11,500 rand towards an investment, towards a retirement annuity for 8.5 years, instead of just waiting until I'm 60, paying off my house, realizing I'm now retrenched, I'm not receiving income, I actually can't even afford to live in the house that I've bought. 12 months, nearly 9,000 rand a month, in excess of 100,000 rand annually. That's 12 months away, right? So you might think, well, we started off slow, but 100,000 rand extra for Christmas, what would that do for your Christmas? You keep going. After 24 months, we're on close to 30,000 rand a month. After 36 months, nearly 50,000 rand a month. You want to look at the debt example again at the 30-month mark? You're earning about 36,000 rand. You have someone with 5 million rand debt in a bond. You pay that 36,000 rand as an additional payment into your bond. You pay a 5 million rand house off in less than 7 years. How many people pay a 5 million rand house off in less than 7 years? So at the age of 47, I pay off my first house, I buy another house. At the age of 54, I pay that second house off, I buy a third house. Do you see how I've paid off my debt first and now start investing? Remember, the second aspiration was always start building value in assets that you have ownership over. That's where investment works. That's where wealth is created. Not recycling your debt until you're 60. Because at the age of 61, I've paid off 3 houses to the value of 5 million rand. I live in one comfortably because I'm earning passive income from rental to the value of 60, 70,000 rand a month. Do you think it bothers me that I've been retrenched? Right? But we have to make this decision 20 years before we can realize the fruits of that mature, boring decision. Instead, you can buy a 911 GTS for that, right? Well, you can't buy it. You can hire purchase it, right? That's what's going to cost you every month. That's the decision. We're constantly weighing up. You keep going. After 48 months, you're close to 70,000 rand a month. And after 60 months, 5 years, you've created for yourself about 1 million rand in annual recurring income, right? You're going to keep earning that nearly 100,000 rand a month going forward. You're going to be building on this channel of distribution that increases your recurring income. So this is our 5-year projection. Completely academic, based on this 3+2 growth model. Got people that join our business, get excited, treat it like a New Year's resolution, and they become part of what we call our 0+0 club. Right? But you can certainly do more, because the accountability lies with you. You dictate when you want to do this business. Whether you're going to give up after month 1 or month 2 or month 3, whether you're going to persist, how much time you're going to dedicate to this business, whether you're going to dedicate it regularly, whether you're going to strategize, take the business seriously. And you can do more than 3+2 if you want. If you want more than 100,000 Rand a month after 5 years, guess who makes that decision? You guys make the decision, right? And so we love to showcase wealth engineers every month. So we've got new wealth engineers that come up every month that show that you can certainly surpass 3+2. Right? So yeah, we've got Joseph. He's from Johannesburg. Joined in the middle of May. Within 30 days, he had created for himself nearly 3,000 Rand a month. 60 days later, 5,000 Rand a month. How much money did you have to have in your retirement fund to pay yourself out 5,000 Rand a month in interest? Do you remember? 1 million Rand. It takes you 40 years to save at 800 Rand a month. He did it in the space of 120 days. Or 90 days, yeah, 90 days. 5,000 Rand a month. And then he doubled his income again 60 days later. Shedrack from Madadeni in KZN joined in the middle of April. Within 30 days, also 3,000 Rand a month. Doubled it again in nearly 60 days. And then more than doubled it again 60 days after that. Nompilo, also from KZN, Port Shepstone, like Brendan says. He didn't realize anything happened in Port Shepstone. But yeah, we got Nompilo, joined at the end of April, comparatively to the other wealth engineers. A slow start. But Sherbet, look after that, June, July, August, 60 days, jumped from 600 to 5,000 Rand a month nearly. And then from there, she tripled it in the next 60 days. Nompilo is one of the wealth engineers in Zongi's channel, right? Do you see why I say find people that you can depend on? Because your success in this business will never be dependent solely on your efforts, ever. It is always a collaboration with other effective wealth engineers. And yeah, Zongi, I'm sure she's very happy having Nompilo in her channel, because look where she's sitting. They joined nearly on the same day. Nompilo must have been one of the first people she introduced to the business. 4,000 Rand a month within 30 days. She doubled that, sitting on 25,000 Rand last month. Guys, the accountability lies with you. These guys only came onto the radar months afterwards. We didn't even know what they were doing, right? We look at our reports and we go, oh wow, look at these guys, they're doing really well. Let's invite them onto stage and ask them to share their experience with everybody. And they all have very colorful experiences of how they joined DuePoint. Some people very skeptical, didn't do anything for 6 months and then start working, right? There's no time limit on this business. It's completely up to you. We've got hundreds and hundreds of wealth engineers that are earning an income additional to their salaries in this business. They've proved that the system works. The system is exactly the same for every single person. No one gets special preference. And everything happens online and through our app. Right? You just our audience here in Johannesburg, but we've got a much bigger audience around the country that are tuned into the live stream. And so you have the freedom to expose this business to anyone in the country. Right? So this is our returns program. This is what we pay our wealth engineers at the end of every month. I said there was a second way to earn as a wealth engineer, and that is through our XP Rewards program. So the XP Rewards program works like this. You become a new wealth engineer, and you will typically start engaging in wealth engineer behavior, which is logging into your app, coming to presentations or doing them at home, tuning into the live stream, watching training. And when you do all these typical activities, you earn what we call XP. It stands for experience points. It's got no monetary value. It's just an indicator of how active you are as a wealth engineer. And when you start collecting more and more XP and your channel starts to grow, we reward you along the way, right? A little bit of fun as you find success in the business. So if you start out today, you'll start out as a rank 0 wealth engineer, right? You can see you're not even on the slide. You're still part of the 0+0 club. But very quickly, in 5 minutes, you can earn 1,000 XP. You need 4 products in your qualified channel. And when you meet those 2 criteria, you become rank 1. And when you become rank 1, the reward is a once or 55 Rand reward that we give you at the end of that month. Right? So this is how the rewards program works. And then as you start to have more success, your business grows, you're collecting more and more XP, you start to rank up. And the rewards get bigger. There you can see 20,000 Rand, 50,000 Rand. we give our wealth engineers tools along the way to help them be more effective in this endeavor. So at rank 5, we give our wealth engineers this fancy little memory stick. The beauty of this little memory stick is that it can plug into any device, literally any device. It doesn't matter whether it's Apple, Android, banana, a tablet, a phone, a laptop, a computer, a TV. It plugs into everything. More importantly, we've got all our video on there. So Patrick and Pumi, they can show people the DuePoint opportunity regardless of what device is around them. At rank 7, we get these business cards manufactured. Very expensive, luxurious, premium business cards. I've been in marketing and advertising for a very long time. I've never seen anyone with business cards like this. Why would we go to such an extent? Why would we spend so much money, 12,500 Rand for 1,000 cards? Because this business very much depends on first impressions and credibility. And so if you go speak to somebody, you approach somebody, you say, I've got this wonderful business opportunity called DuePoint. They've probably never heard of us before. But when you put a 12,500 Rand business card in their hand, they will suddenly give you a little more time to explain what DuePoint's all about, because your business card costs about 50 times more than the one they've got in their wallets, right? It's a foot in the door. It's a foot in the door. It's a tool to help you be more effective. At rank 9, we take our rank 9 wealth engineers and their families, business class flights on our international conference. It's 7 days away at a 5-star luxury resort, all expenses paid trip. And this is not a once-off reward. Once our rank 9s become rank 9 and above, they will enjoy this international conference with us every single year. So we've already booked out our international conference for the end of this year. It's from Christmas to over New Year, probably the most expensive time to go away on holiday. But take a look at where we're going. This is footage from the actual resort that we're going to in Mauritius. It's called the Western Turtle Bay.
All of your wind has gone, and all of the paths you've drawn have sunk to the ocean sun, where no one can see. You stand, don't let the dark embrace, cower the dreams you chase under the rust and blood. Don't let yourself give up.
So that's happening in 2 months' time. We've got a whole host of families that are qualified already in the short space of time. Like I said, no time limit on this. Typically, if you follow 3+2, it'll take you about 2 years to get to rank 9. right? And then that's something you get to enjoy every single year. At rank 11, we spend R250,000. We buy a brand new car for our wealth engineers, present it to them, no T's and C's. The car is yours. It's in your name. You drive it off our parking lot, hopefully with some insurance intact, but no debit order at the end of the month. Can you see we are trying to get you to become debt-free as quickly as possible? So that's our rewards program, right? Rank 11, we've showcased up to. The program actually is designed up to rank 28. We've mapped it out what we think is appropriate over the next 30 years. So we very much thinking long-term in this business. I hope you will adopt the same thinking. Think long-term in this business. Where will you be in 10 years' time? Because I asked myself the question, I think 20 years back where I thought I'd be in 5 years after school. I thought I'd have a Porsche after 5 years. So I was very ambitious after school, and then life kicked me in the shin and said, no, you will not have a Porsche. Right? So got to make that decision today and think long-term about it. There's actually a third way to benefit as a wealth engineer. We do this thing every month called the Wealth Quest. It is a challenge that we issue our wealth engineers, or an incentive. It's different every single month. It runs from the first to the last day of the month, and the challenge this month is called Come Fly With Me, and we challenge you to rank up one existing qualified wealth engineer, so someone that's in your business already or a new person, and if you can rank them up as a wealth engineer in our rewards program, as well as qualifying another wealth engineer, and if you can do those two things, you'll have a 49-inch big screen LED smart TV in your lounge by the end of next month. So that's on offer for the month. So those are the three benefits: our returns program, our rewards program, the wealth quests that we run. We get asked the question, well, how does DuePoint afford all of this? Quite basically, very much against traditional business models that, especially insurance companies, that spend a lot of money on client acquisition. So the premium we pay to insurance companies every month, a large portion of that actually goes into next month's marketing and advertising budget, right? So that's how they do client acquisition. DuePoint doesn't do any marketing or advertising, so we don't spend a cent on marketing and advertising. Instead, we rely on our wealth engineers, the people that partner with us in this business, to go out and tell people about the DuePoint opportunity. And so we don't have to spend the billions that typically the insurance industry spends on client acquisition. We can instead take that portion of the premium and pay it out in the form of returns and rewards to our wealth engineers. All right, so let's talk about our products. We've got 3 products. They are all financial in nature, and they all benefit us from a financial perspective. So the first product is called the Access Wealth Plan. It is actually made up of 2 independent products. So for 299 Rand a month, you get a Sanlam tax-free investment account set up in your name, of which from the 299, 100 Rand will be invested every month into that tax-free investment account, right? So it's just with Sanlam. It's not a notice or a fixed deposit account. You can draw that investment out at any stage. It takes us about 72 hours to process the withdrawal, but you have complete freedom around that account. And then the second aspect of the Access Wealth Plan is some insurance that you get with this product, and that's personal accident cover to the value of 110,000 Rand personal accident cover. So this is our Access Wealth Plan. We call it our investment product, but made up of those 2 parts. The second product is called the Wealth Guard. It's called the Wealth Guard. It is 274 Rand a month, and this is strictly insurance. So this is our insurance product. So for 274 Rand a month, this time you get 1.1 million Rands worth of personal accident cover. Now this is personal accident cover. It's not life cover. It's not a funeral policy, right? The beauty of this product is that it becomes accessible to anyone over the age of 18, because we're able to maintain the premium regardless of your age. So you can be 70 years old, you can be diabetic, you can have cancer, right? It's not age dependent, the premium. So the premium remains the same for all of us, and the amount of cover that you receive remains the same for all of us, because we don't profile you from a health risk point of view, right? So that's Wealth Guard, the insurance product. The third product is called the Wealth Points Buyers Club program. It's 274 Rand a month, and this product aims to save us money on the money that we spend every month. Anyway, so I know that we're spending a fortune on groceries. Inflation on food is astronomical at the moment. So you get to enjoy discounts that we've negotiated with a list of partners there. We've got a whole bunch of retailers, Yuppie Chef, Hershey's, ShopRite, Checkers, and Take-A-Lot, and then some hair, beauty, and fitness products or partners. On the retailers, you get about 2.5% to 5% on your spend every time you go to those retailers. We've got always on Wi-Fi data because this is very much a data-driven business. You get a gig for 36 Rand through Always On. The entertainers got 1.3 million Rands worth of buy one, get one free vouchers that gives you access to restaurants and hotels around the country, around the world. Awesome product. We've got Eagle Ford, and we are always adding partners to this, right? So if you want immediate benefit, Wealth Points program is an awesome product. If you have any questions around the product, come speak to me. All right, so the decision time. I'm not going to go over the benefits, again, of the business. I think you all understand what the benefits are, really what the decision is, and often it comes down to whether you are willing to partake in the downside of starting a business, right? And some people might have come in with a predisposition of thinking this is a get-rich-quick scheme. I mean, to the extent where client services received calls saying, I thought this was a get-rich-quick scheme and it isn't. So I'm not interested. I don't want to be a wealth engineer. Right? People want to get rich quickly, but it doesn't exist. It does not exist. So really the decision is, are you willing to partake in the downside of entrepreneurship, which is dealing with the frustration of the business, doing all these things like planning, goal setting, strategizing, right? Personal development, going through our training. There's not a lot of our training, but going through our training, trying to become a better version of yourself so that you're able to start creating additional income and change your circumstance ultimately, right? That's the upside of entrepreneurship. But you have to partake in the downside. There was a lovely quote coined by Elon Musk where he said, you've got to be willing to partake in the downside of entrepreneurship if you want to enjoy the upside. There's no other way to get there. There's no other way. And this is the decision that we're making. If you do make that decision, I hope that at the same time you will have decided in your head how DuePoint is going to fit into your life going forward. Because you have to make that decision at the same time. Is it something that you do every Friday lunchtime? Is it every week lunchtime? Is it Saturdays or Sundays? Is it both? Is it in the evenings in the week? You have to make that decision. Joining is fairly straightforward. Please read your code of conduct. It is our contract with you that defines what you can and cannot do as wealth engineers. You register as a wealth engineer on our website, so the person that introduced you to the business can help you with that. It's fairly straightforward. Just go to our homepage, www.dewpoint.net. There's a big blue apply button. Registration takes about 10 minutes, if that. And then apply yourself to your business, to your channel, right? The boring things of going through the online training, right? Invest in yourself. Set goals, prepare a plan. You've got to do all those things that you read in business books. It applies to this business. Do all of those things. And then the basic activity is just talking to people, telling them about a business opportunity that exists. Most people will not be interested, but the 30-40% that are interested are waiting for you to tell them about a business like this. Because as South Africans, we're all in the same boat. Right? And we all need opportunity. It is the number one commodity in this country at the moment is financial opportunity because no one else is creating it for us. So go out and start speaking to people. All right, we got merchandise. It's not a profit center for us. These are tools that we thought would help you in this endeavor. So please consider getting business cards. This is my number one bugbear is when people don't think they need business cards. If you're going to go out and propose some awesome business solution to somebody, and you don't even have a business card, what does that say about your credibility and your engagement in that business, right? So we've got the business cards. We've made them as cheap as possible. You get 500 cards. Go look at them. All the merchandise is on display in the merchandise cabinet. The pricing is on the counter. The USB sticks are great because if you don't want to use data, all our videos on the USB sticks. The pins represent people that are actually earning in our business. So you'll notice some of the wealth engineers are wearing pins. Don't go ask advice from a person that doesn't have a pin on because they're part of the 0+0 club, right? You want to ask people that have got pins. Get a pin. The moment you become rank 1, you're allowed to get and wear one of those pins. We've got the pens. We've got power banks, very important. Your phone is probably your primary business tool. You don't want to run out of battery. So get the power bank. We've got notebooks. We've got caps so that you look good on the weekend. Okay. So as I said, it's all on the counter there. Go have a look. Once you become wealth engineer, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got about 500 videos on the YouTube channel that we've produced in the last 18 months. It's all beautifully categorized, so it's not too overwhelming. Go take a look at that, subscribe. It'll tell you every time we load up a new video. It'll tell you every time we've got a live feed. Download the mobile app to your phone. It works off of Google Android devices as well as the iPhone App Store or the iPad App Store. Download the app, and then the first thing you do on the app is you click on your name and you take a selfie. Right? No duck lips, no sunglasses. It's a passport photo with a smile. Because the moment you update your profile photo, we'll give you 1,000 XP. How much XP did you need to be rank 1? 1,000 XP, right? 1 minute away. So go do that. All right, some don'ts. So let's run through these quickly because people don't read their code of conduct, I know. So we've had to add this don't slide. So we've got 5 don'ts. You cannot become a wealth engineer if you cannot afford the products, right? That should be obvious. Where DuePoint, unfortunately, isn't everything to everyone in South Africa. We want to empower people that are resourceful enough to run a business. You can then start helping people beyond that. But the business is not for people that are typically unemployed, people that are broke. If you don't have access to the internet, you're going to really battle with this business. We don't have brochures or printed out application forms. We don't have printed anything. This business is very much reliant on being online and having data. And you might have to decide to invest in more data to run this business. Right? It's going to be one of the few investments you ever make into a business. It's going to be data. If you struggle with transport, you're going to need transport to see people, to have meetings with your first pointers. It requires transport, at least access to transport. Don't ever complete a DuePoint application form on behalf of somebody else. I know lots of people do this. It is illegal. It is fraudulent. If we catch you doing it, we're going to be very angry and take you to the police station. So don't do it. And make sure the people in your channel know that they cannot complete applications on behalf of somebody else. The person has to complete their own applications. It is a contract that they're completing with us. Don't add direct family members. We call this anti-stacking. So if anyone lives in your household, is a family member and lives in your household, they cannot join your channel, right? It's too much manipulation that happens in that instance. So if the person's living somewhere else, it might be a child that has already left home and started their own family, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. They can live 2 houses down from you, as long as you're not in the same household sharing the same expenses. Don't start your own DuePoint Facebook page. This is our biggest issue in this business. It's in contravention of the Phase Act. It's contravention of our code of conduct. You cannot go out and start advertising DuePoint or our products on social media platforms. We've got a company solely with the responsibility of reporting to us anyone that mentions DuePoint on Facebook. And every day the client service ladies suspend a whole list of people that are trying to advertise DuePoint on Facebook. This business does not work over Facebook. It doesn't. This business is very much reliant on one-on-one relationship building. Remember, the people that you're bringing into your channel to collaborate with you are not strangers you're going to find on Facebook. They are people that you speak to. You understand their needs. You develop a relationship with them. You look after them because they're going to build your wealth with you. Right? So take care of them. And then the last one, don't send a lead DuePoint prospect to our head office unattended. Right? Again, it speaks to having a relationship with people, looking after the people that you bring into the business. We don't want strangers arriving here saying, I'm here for a presentation. Someone, I can't quite remember, sent me here. I met them on Facebook. Because we don't look after your prospects. That's your job, right? Your responsibility. So those are the 5 don'ts. And that's it. We have 27 days left until the 1st of December. What happens on the 1st of December? The wealth engineers know this. Permanent Puza Thursday till the end of January, right? So I know. Everyone goes on holiday. People are already on holiday. People started going on holiday from the 1st of October. We see it in our statistics and the activity. See, we can track everyone's activity. I can see everyone's just in holiday mode already. Right? What are you guys doing at work? You're obviously not pushing for a bonus if you're on holiday from the 1st of October. So it's our reminder, 27 days. It is an opportunity. You have 27 opportunities to really push this business. Because if you do that, we will be paying out returns just before Christmas. And either you're going to be getting money from DuePoint or you're not going to be getting money from DuePoint on the 20th of December. It is your choice. Your choice. 27 days. Right? You saw some of these people. In 27 days, they put 3,000 Rand worth of returns into their business. You have the same opportunity. Guys, good luck. For our guests or anyone else, if you want to come speak to me, ask me any questions, you're welcome to do that. Jane or Lynn or one of the client service ladies will be at reception if you have any admin or merchandise inquiries. Thanks so much and have a wonderful weekend.